Hey there friends, thanks for checking in. Today we're going to talk about trigger pull and why it matters, and the various types of triggers across the Springfield Armory handgun line. Over here we've got the Springfield Armory XDS9 Mod 2 OSP, and over here we have the Springfield Armory Echelon. Both very different triggers, both serve different purposes. For example, the XDS9 Mod 2 is a popular carry choice. A lot of people would consider pocket carrying this. Many people pocket carry. It's thin, it's lightweight, it's subcompact, and it's reliable. The trigger is a bit heavier, on the heavier side I should say. We're looking at 5 3/4 to 6 pounds with a reset that's not super short. Why is that? People would appreciate a trigger that is not super light when pocket carrying or on the hip. Now we could talk about pocket carry with the optic or not, but the trigger serves as a safety and it gives peace of mind to somebody who's going to slip this handgun in the pocket. Its primary purpose for carry. But over here we've got the Springfield Armory Echelon. This would be great home defense. Many people would carry this on the hip. I doubt anybody's going to pocket carry it. But what a great competition gun the Springfield Armory Echelon would be. The trigger is very different. It's a flat trigger. Breaks much lighter with an extremely short reset. Check that out. Very short reset. Much different than the XDS9 Mod 2. Why is that? Well, when transitioning in competition, that short trigger pull, that short reset I should say, matters. That light trigger pull is so nice, and it keeps you on target. It gives you everything you need to be successful. So you have different purposes, different sizes, different types of trigger pulls with these two handguns. Here we have the Springfield Armory Prodigy. Love this handgun, but I want to make a point about how trigger scales vary. This is a Wheeler trigger scale. It's electronic. If I turn it on and I pull the trigger here, I push that grip safety down, I pull the trigger, it measures 2 pounds, 8 ounces even. That, to me, seems a little light for the Prodigy. But here is a Wheeler spring-loaded trigger scale. I'll do the exact same thing. And this is measuring 5.5 pounds. So both trigger scales made by Wheeler. This one measures 2 pounds, 8 ounces. This one measures 5.5 pounds. A large difference between the two. Major. So when we talk about trigger pull, we have to consider what scale is used. I find it best to take the average between the electronic trigger scale and the spring-loaded trigger scale, and that will give you a roundabout area with the trigger pull weight. Here is another point that explains why trigger pull matters. Here is a P35. Here is the Springfield Armory SA35. Springfield Armory improved upon the P35, and the thing that stuck out to me most was the lighter trigger. Many shooters complained that the trigger on the P35 was way too heavy. Now with the electronic Wheeler trigger scale, we'll go ahead and measure the trigger weight on the P35, and we will see that it is showing 5 pounds, 2.1 ounces. And we know that this scale measures on the light end, 5.2. If we look at the Springfield SA35, we will notice it's much lighter. And this is measuring 2 pounds. So the full-size handguns that people love, the shooters prefer a lighter trigger pull, and Springfield accomplished that with the SA35 compared to the P35 with a much lighter trigger. It makes it a more pleasure to shoot at the range, and especially single action triggers, people want them light, and Springfield did that with the SA35. Here is another point worth mentioning with two of the 10mm handguns that Springfield Armory offers. The Ronin is a 1911. Excellent handgun, excellent 10mm with a great trigger. And I just love the 1911 Ronin. I love this 10mm. The reset, so short, trigger pull, so light. And if any handgun that's Palmer frame striker fire can compete with this Ronin trigger, it would be the XDM Elite or the Echelon. But here we have the XDM Elite compact in 10mm, and the trigger pull is very nice with that flat trigger right there, and the reset is right there. It is more of a carry handgun, and I think that it has a great trigger, but in my eyes, the 1911 trigger reigns supreme. So you have different platforms, different purposes for the most part, and different triggers. So let me wrap this thing up by talking about carry handguns and what I think is the best balance between a light, short trigger pull that is not like a 1911, but yet gives the shooter peace of mind. And you'll find that on the Springfield Armory Hellcat models. Here's a Hellcat Pro. Excellent trigger pull, right around 5 pounds. Nice crisp break with a reset that's fairly short. Not as short as a 1911. The trigger pull's not as light as a 1911, but it hits that perfect mid-range that shooters feel great when carrying. So if you go with the Hellcat, you're going to get an excellent all-around trigger that'll suit your desires at the range as well as CCW, and I just find them to be pretty outstanding triggers, and that's why they've become so popular throughout the years. I hope this video gave you an idea of all the various types of triggers that are available with Springfield Armory handguns. They fit the desired purpose, and that is the primary reason the triggers are different from one handgun to the other. Excellent triggers overall. I think whichever you choose, you'll be satisfied. If you like videos like this, please subscribe and share. I always appreciate thumbs up button. Thanks for watching, and you guys be safe.